Okay, so let's continue this webinar. Okay, so the question it is saying that an unauthorized individual enters a building following an employee through the employee entrance after the lunch rush. What type of breach has individual has performed? Okay, so guys, when we are talking about the option A, which is your reverse social engineering, then option B, which is your tailgating, option C, your piggybacking, and option D is your announced. Okay, so in the tailgating, what the attacker will be doing is he will be following, right? The attacker, he is going to follow the employee, right? He will be following an authorized person over there without his knowledge. That is what we are having the tailgating. After that, we got your piggybacking. In the piggybacking, the authorized person, right? The employee over there, right? He will be allowing the employee, he will be allowing this unauthorized person to get inside. So that is what we are having the piggybacking. Then after this, we are having the announced, right? So it is not we are having in our physical security breach. Okay, so the correct answer we are having over here is your option B, your tailgating. Then let's move to the next question. Okay, so the question it is saying that Mary found a high vulnerability during a vulnerability scan and noticed her server team after analysis. They sent her proof that a fix to that issue had already been applied. The vulnerability that Mary found is called what? The option A, we got your false positive. Okay. So guys, when we are talking about the option A, we got the false negative. So guys, when we are talking about the false negative means to say over here, the attack and our alert system, right? So in this, what is happening is the attack is going on inside the organization, right? But our alert system, right, they are not generating any alert for it. So that is what known as your false negative, right? So over here, the vulnerability, it is existing over there, but it is not getting identified but by our scan. So that is what we are having the false negative. Then after this, we are having the false positive, right? So over here, the attack is going on, or you can say the vulnerability, it is present, right? And our scan, it is incorrectly, it is okay, sorry. So over here, when we are talking about the false positive, and this what is happening is we are having a vulnerability, right? We are having a vulnerability and our scan, it is incorrectly identifying it, right? Our scanner, it is incorrectly identifying it, right? So over here, like our scanner, it is saying that it is present, it is present, it is present, right? But actually it is not presenting over there. So that is what we are having the false positive, right? It means that no attack is going on, but our alert system, they are generating an alert for it. So that scenario, it will be known as your false positive. After this, we are having the brute force attack. So in this brute force attack, what the attacker, they are going to do is they are going to constantly, they will be using the guessable username and the password, right? The attacker, they will be using the constantly guessable username and the password, right? So over there, what will be happening is in the brute force attack, the attackers, first they will be creating a big list of username and the password, right? They will be creating some guessable username and the password, and then they will be using them unless and until they will be finding the correct match. That is what we are having the brute force attack. Then we are having the backdoor. Backdoor is what? It is a hidden entry point, right? Which will be allowing the attacker to get inside of a system to get the unauthorized access, right? So over here, the correct answer, we are having the false positive, right? So over here, as the question it is saying that at the time of your vulnerability assessment, at the time of your scanning over here, right? This particular scan, it is, you can say, finding a vulnerability, and for that it is saying that it is a high vulnerability, right? But later on, when they are analyzing it, right, they got to know that the issue, that the fix for that particular issue, it has been already applied. So over here, and the false positive, what will be happening is no attack is going on, but our alert system, they are generating an alert for it. So that is what we are having the false positive. Then what about this one? Okay, so guys, when we are talking about this OX flag, right? So this hyphen O, what it is going to do is it is going to create an output, right? And over here, this X, we are denoting that we want the result of our Nmap scan in the XML format, right? So over here, like as you can see, we are having this output, right? So in this output, we are having this hyphen OX, which is for your XML, right? So in this, we are telling to our XML that once the scan will be completed, then you have to give us the output of that particular scan in the XML format, right? So that we can check that particular output on the later on, right? So the correct option we are having is your option C. Output the result in XML format to a file. Then what about this one? So guys, the question it is saying that infecting a system with malware and using phishing to gain credential to a system or web application are example of which phase of the ethical hacking methodology, right? So over here, when we are talking about this ethical hacking methodology, we are having on the top, which is your reconnaissance, which is also known as your footprinting. Then we are having your scanning, then your gaining access. After the gaining access, we are having your maintaining access, and then we are having your covering the tracks. Okay, so over here in this, what the attacker is doing is he's trying to get the credential, right? Over here, the attacker is infecting a system with a malware, and for that he is using your phishing to gain the credential of a system, or you can say a web application, right? So in this, the attacker is trying to gain the access, right? Over here, the attacker is trying to gain the access. So that will be what our option D. And the reconnaissance, as we were discussing previously, and thus the attacker he will be trying to gather as much information about the victim, right? About his network over there, right? For that, he will be using the various methods, right? And later on, he will be having the information about his email over there, right? He will be having the information about his phone number, right? He will be having the information about his date of birth and all those things. So that is what we are having the reconnaissance. Then we are having maintaining access. So this particular phase, it will be coming after our gaining access. So over here, after this, we are having your scanning. And the scanning, what the attacker is doing is he will be using the different tools and the techniques to identify the vulnerabilities on the victim system or the network, right? Then after this, we are having the gaining access. So in this particular phase, the attacker, he is going to exploit those vulnerabilities, right? He will be trying to gain the unauthorized access. For that, he will be exploiting those previously found vulnerabilities over here. So that is what we are having the gaining access, right? Then after this, we will be having our maintaining access. In this, the attacker, he will be trying to create the persistent, right? He will be trying to create the persistent over here. That is what we are having the maintaining access. So over here, the correct answer we are having is your gaining access. Then what about this one? Okay, so the question it is saying that which regulation is likely violated when patients' medical records are exposed online due to a cybersecurity breach in a medical company, right? So over here, for that, we are having option A, HIPAA, your Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, right? And your PHI, it stands for your Protected Health Information, right? So over here, our HIPAA, it says that a person's medical record, right? His PHI, it shouldn't be getting disclosed, right? So for that, our HIPAA, what it is doing is it is protecting the privacy and the security of individuals. They are PHI over here, right? It is saying that their PHI, it should be maintained, it should be covered by the various entities, right, who are involved in the medical, right, which will be including like our healthcare provider, it will be including our health plans, our medical records, right, our healthcare clearing houses over there, right. Then we are having your PII, your personally identifiable information. So PII is what? It is a broader term we are having, right? So over here, our PII, it will be including the information about our address, right? It will be containing the information about our social security number, our ID number, right? It will be containing the information about our, you can say all the personal detail through which a person is getting identified. That is what we are having the PII, right? Then after this, we are having your PCI DSS, right? Your payment card industry data security standard, right? So this particular regulation, right? This particular standard, it is saying that that the person's information about his credit card, debit card, his e-purse, right? It shouldn't be getting disclosed. It shouldn't be getting compromised over there. So that is what we are having your PSI DSS for protecting the person's information about their credit card, their debit card, their e-purse, their wallet, right? So it shouldn't be getting disclosed. So over here, our PSI DSS, it is not related to our medical records. Then we are having your ISO 2002, right? So over here, this ISO 2002, it is for our information technology security techniques, right? So over here, your ISO 2002, it is also not specific for our medical or our healthcare, right? Or our PHI protection. So the correct option we are having is your option A, your HEPA PHI, right? Right. So over here, our ISO 2002, it is not going to protect, or it is not, you can say, related to our healthcare protection over there, right? So that is why this HEPA, it is the correct one. Okay. Groups and individuals who act system based on principle or personal beliefs are known as option A, whiteheads. Now, the whiteheads are what? These are the ethical hackers, right? Who will be always going through the book. They never ever break the rules over there, right? So over there, our ethical hackers, right? What they will be doing is they will be identifying and fixing the vulnerabilities we are having in our system, in our organization, right? So over here, the ethical hackers, they are working with our organization, right? So after this, we are having your black hats. Now, the black hats are what? These are the malicious hackers, right? Who will be exploiting the vulnerabilities for their personal gain. Like, let's say they want to steal some data, right? They want to extort some money over there, right? So these are what? These are our black hats. You can also say that these are the malicious hackers who are having bad intention. Then we are having script kiddies. So script kiddies are what? These are the hackers who are not having uh, enough knowledge about the hacking, right? Or what is legally happening over there, right? They do not know the legal implications around it. So what they will be doing is they will be using the tools and the techniques which are being created by our black hat, white hat, and we are also having your gray hat hackers, right? So the script kiddies, they will be using all the tools and the scripts which are being created by them, right? So these are what our script kiddies, or you can say the inexperienced individual, right, who will be using all the tools and the scripts which are present in the internet over there, right? So over there they are not having any deep understanding upon what is happening over there. Okay, then we are having our hacktivist, right? Now the hacktivists are what? These are the types of hackers which will be performing the hack based upon their personal agenda, their personal belief, right? If they are thinking that this particular thing is good, then they are going to perform it, right? It doesn't matter whether it is good for the society or not. If they are believing that it is good, then they are going to perform it, right? So they will be working on the basis of a principle or their personal beliefs. So the correct answer we are having is your option D, which is your hacktivist. Then what about this one? What command line utility can use to craft custom packets with a specific flag set, right? So guys, when we are talking about the option A, it is your Nmap, which stands for your network mapper, right? It is a very, very powerful tool, right? And your Nmap, it is being used for discovering the vulnerabilities, right? The weakness over there, right? For that, it will be helping us to gather the information about the ports, the services, the banner over there, right? So our Nmap, it can analyze the packet, right? But it is not offering us any sort of customization, right? The flag manipulation, right? Then we are having your option B, your Zenmap, right? So Zenmap is what? It is a GUI version of our Nmap, right? The GUI version of our Nmap. Then we are having your ping. Now, the ping, it is what? It is a utility which is being used to test the connectivity, right? For that, what it will be doing is it is just going to send the ICMP echo request, and then it will be receiving the ICMP echo reply, right, from the victim. And from that, it will be giving us the information that the other system, the receiver, it is your connected, right? We can connect with him, right? It is available over there. Then after this, we are having your hping, right? So over here, your hping, it is a very, very powerful utility we are having, right? So over here, when we are talking about the hping, right? Hping is what? It is a network utility which is being used to send our custom, your ICMP, your UDP, your TCP packets, right? Along with that, it can also handle the fragmentation, the arbitrary packets, the body, the size, right? Along with that, it can be also used to transfer file under some supported protocols over there, right? So guys, when we are talking about the HPing 3, right, it is a very versatile tool, but it is some sort of similar to our ping utility, but it is having more functionality than just sending the simple ICMP call request, right, which our ping usually used for, right? So over here, this is what we are having your HPing 3, which is containing all these many options inside it. So the correct option we are having is option D, your HPing 3. Then what about this one? Okay, so over here we are having your SMTP, right? So SMTP, what it is going to do is it is going to use our port number 25, right? Your simple mail transfer protocol, right? So this SMTP we are having for sending the emails between our server, right? Then we are having your option B, your 110, right? So this particular port number, it is being used by our POP3, right? Your post office protocol, right, which is being used to receive the emails on our receiver's device. Then we are having your option C, your 389, and it is being used by our LDAP, your lightweight directory access protocol, right? Now your LDAP, it is being used for querying our directory services, like you want to gather the information, right? Like your user accounts, your contact information. For that, we are having this 389. Then we are having your 52, right? So over here we are having this 52, which is being used by our like DNS, right, which will be translating our domain name into the IP address and the vice versa. So the correct option we are having is your option A, which is your port number 25. Then what about this one? Okay, so over here we are having your TCP three-way handshake, right? We are having the TCP three-way handshake, which is being used for creating a connection, right? So over here, let's say we are having a user and we are having a server. Now, in this, what will be happening is for creating the connection, this user is going to send the SYN packet, right? He will be sending the SYN packet to the server, right? Now you can consider the SYN as a hello. After this, the server it is going to reply back, and for that, it will be sending your SYN ACK, right? Now, after this, our user it will be sending your acknowledgement, right? It will be sending the acknowledgement to the server, right? Then after this, our connection will be created, right? So this is how our TCP three-way handshake works. Now, when we are talking about the SYN flood attack, right? Your SYN flood attack is what? It is a DOS attack we are having, right? It is a DOS attack we are having. And this, the attacker, right? He will be sending lots of SYN packet, right? He will be flooding the server with the SYN packet over here. Now, in this, what the attacker is going to do is he will be sending, like let's say this is our user, right? And he will be sending SYN, right? He will be sending SYN packet to the server. Now, in response to that, the server, it will be sending your SYNAC. Right? The server, it is sending the SYNAC. But over here, this time, this user, or you can say this attacker, right? He is not replying back. He is not sending your acknowledgement packet, right? So over here, what will be happening is the server, it has to put some resources, right? Over here, the server, it has to deploy some resources which will be waiting for the acknowledgement from this particular user over here, right? So some of the resources, they will be reserved for this. But in this SYN flood attack, what the attacker is doing is he's not sending a single SYN packet. No, he will be sending your thousands and thousands of SYN packets, right, from your multiple location. That will be our DDoS, right? He will be sending your thousands and thousands of packet from your multiple location, from your multiple systems over there. Then what the server will be doing is again it will be sending SYNAC to all those systems, right? And it will be waiting for the acknowledgement, right? And for that, lots of resources of this server, it will be occupied. And after some time, it will be out from the resources, right? So over here, our server, it will be starved to death by waiting for the acknowledgement because all the resources it is having, they have been, you can say, consumed by our attacker, right? Because he's making this particular server to wait for him, to wait for the acknowledgement packet. So from here, the option A, we are having your acknowledgement, right? Option B, it is your SYN. Option C, your SYNAC, and option D, your urge, right? So over here, the acknowledgement packet, as we were saying that the attacker is not going to send any acknowledgement, right? So this is the response which will be missing in our SYN flood attack. Then we are having the SYNAC, right? So this is a response which will be sended, right? It will be sended by the server over here, right? It is acknowledging our SYN request, right? It is confirming that I have successfully received your SYN request over here, right? So over here, that is what we are having your SYNAC, right? Then after this, we are having your urge, right? So this urge flag, it is being used to indicate that let's say we are having hundreds of packet, and out of those hundreds of packet, we are giving this particular packet a flag of your urgent, right? So in this, we are indicating that this particular packet, it is containing some urgent data, right? So it is not like relevant over three-way handshake, right? So in the SYNAC, it is being received from the server. Then we are having the SYN, which is considered as a hello, and it will be sent by our attacker over here, right? So this is the particular response which is missing inside our three-way handshake, right? So the correct answer we are having is your acknowledgement. Then what about this one? Okay, so over here, the question it is saying that what could a company do to protect itself from a loss of data when a phone is stolen? Option A, we are having password, right? So over here, if our mobile phone, it is having a strong password, right? So it will be making it very much harder for the attackers, for the unauthorized people to access our mobile phone, right? The data we are having inside it, right? So that is what we are having the password. Then we are having option B, which is your patching, right? So guys, patching it is very crucial, right? It is very important for our overall mobile security, right? But in this, it is not directly, right? It is not directly addressing our data loss, right? When our mobile phone, it will be stolen, right? Like let's say if our mobile phone, it has been stolen, right? So over there, we are not going to patch it, right? We are not going to patch it. Then we are having your option C, which is your encryption, right? So encryption means what we will be doing is we are going to encrypt the sensitive data, right? Which we are having inside of a mobile phone, right? So over here, the encryption, it is ensuring that even if someone will be gaining the access of our mobile phone, right, they were able to crack the password over there, right, they won't be able to understand the information we are having because it is encrypted, right? For understanding all those encryption, they should be having the decryption key, right? So over here, our encryption, it is going to apply on our both our device storage, or whether we are talking about the files which are stored inside our application. Then we are having the option D, your remote wipe, right? So the remote wipe, if we are having the remote wipe facilities, right, and our mobile phone, it is getting stolen. So simply the security peoples, right, our IT teams, what they can do is they can simply wipe out all the data from setting a centralized location. What they will be doing is they are remotely going to wipe out all the data we are having inside the mobile phone. By doing that, what will be happening is the sensitive data we are having, right? Whether we are talking about the individual, or nowadays what we are having is we are having also your BYOD, right? You bring your own devices, right? So in that, the individuals, they are using their personal devices for their business work also, right? So in the BYOD, what is happening is we are having a big risk, right? Like if our mobile phone, it will be getting stolen, then the organization, then they are going to face a huge loss, right? Because that particular mobile phone, it will be containing the confidential data about the organization. So and that what they are doing is we are having your mobile device management, right? And under this mobile device management, they will be installing the certain application inside the mobile, which will be also containing the remote wipe facilities, right? So over there, if the mobile phone, it will be getting stolen, then simply our security teams, they can remotely wipe out all the data. So by doing that, what will be happening is the sensitive information about the organization and about the individual, it will be all wiped out, right? It won't be falling into the wrong hand. So over here, the correct option, the correct options we are having for this is your option A password. Having a strong password, it will be making harder for the unauthorized people to access our mobile device. Then encryption, which will be making it again much more harder, which will be adding the extra layer of security, right? Which will be adding the extra layer of security in our mobile phone, even if it is getting, even if it is, you can say, getting stolen over there, right? And the attackers, they are able to crack the password, right? Then if we are having the encryption, then they won't be able to understand it. Then lastly, we are having the remote wipe, right? So over here in this particular scenario, we should be having the passwords, we should be having the strong password, we should be having the encryption, we should be having the remote wipe, right? So the correct options are these three. Okay, so over here, Bobson, when we are talking about the passwords, like we are also having the biometric authentications, we are having the fingerprint scanners, right? We are having the passcodes, the PIN codes, right? So over here, let's say if you will be getting my mobile phone, right? And over there, you do not know the password of my mobile phone, then you won't be able to access it, right? You won't be able to access it. So over here, the password, what it is doing is it is providing us a layer of security. But over here, when we are talking about the patching, right? If our mobile phone, it is getting stolen, then patching, it cannot do anything over there, right? Because it is going to address the vulnerabilities we are having in our mobile phone, which can be exploited to gain the access, right? Not about the physical theft. So that is why we are excluding the patching. What about this one? Okay. So the question it is saying that Jack, a professional hacker, performs a network attack on a renowned organization and gains unauthorized access to the target network, right? He remains in the network without being he remains in the network without being detected for a long time and obtains the sensitive information without sabotaging the organization. Which of the following technique is used by John? Right. So over here, we are having the option A, which is your insider threat, right? So inside the threat, what we are having is like the disgruntled employee, right? Who are already having the authorized access to our network, to our system, right? And then they can harm our organization, right? So over there, our attacker, he gains the unauthorized access through a attack, right? So he is not from within the organization, right? So he's performing from the outside. Then we are having the diversion theft, right? So in the diversion theft, the attacker, he will be trying to distract our victim, right? And in the meantime, he will be also trying to steal the information from there, right? So that is what we are having, the distract attack. So in this particular scenario, the attacker, he is not using any sort of distraction. Then we are having the spear phishing sites. In the spear phishing, the attackers over there, what they will be doing is generally like they are creating the websites, right? They are creating like the fake websites over there, right? Which are being designed to trick a particular person, right? Or you can say we will be having the individual targets over there into revealing their information, right? So the spear phishing in this scenario, it can be used to gain the access, right? But as the question it is saying, right? He is already inside the network, right? And he is remaining undetected for a long time, right? So this is what it is, a characteristics of our APT, your advanced persistent threat. Now, in the APT, what our attackers, what they will be doing is they will be trying to remain inside the victim system for a longer period of time, right? They are very highly skilled, right? So over there, what they will be doing is they will be trying to gain the unauthorized access, and then they will be remaining undetected for a extended period, or unless and until their motto is, you can say, clear over there, right? They have achieved their objective over there, right? Then after that they will be stealing the information or whatever thing they want to do, right? But in the meantime, when they are trying to remain inside the system, they are not going to sabotage the organization, they are not going to perform any malicious actions through which victim will be getting the idea, right? So simply they are sitting over there, right? And then they will be monitoring each and everything over there, right? So in this scenario, what is happening is the attacker, he is gaining the unauthorized access, and he will be remaining inside the victim system for a very longer period of time, right? And then he is stealing the sensitive information without causing any sort of trouble inside the organization. So over here, the correct answer we are having for this is your APT, your advanced persistent threat. What about this one? Okay, so the question it is saying that Jason notices that he is receiving mail, phone calls, and other requests for information. He has also noticed some problems with his credit checks, such as bad debts and loans he did not participate in. What type of attack did Jason become a victim of? Okay, so guys, over here, the option A, it is your social engineering, right? So in the social engineering, what the attackers they will be doing is they will be trying to trick the victim over there to obtain the personal information, the confidential information about that victim over there, right? The sensitive information, right? So that is what we are having, the social engineering and are to trick the humans to give us to get their personal information, right? Their credentials, their sensitive information. That is what we are having, the social engineering. Then we are having the phishing over here, and the phishing, the attacker, they will be sending the fraudulent mail which will be looking like the real one, right? They will be trying to trick the person, right? So that he will be giving them his confidential information, his credentials, right? So over there, what they will be doing is they will be sending the illegitimate mail, which will be looking like the legitimate one, right? And once the victim will be finding, right? Generally, the phishing mail, they are containing like the links, right, which will be forwarding them to some fake website which will be looking like the real one. And when the victim they will be finding it, they will be trying to, you can say, put their credential, and once they will be giving their credential inside it, it will be sent it to the attacker. So that is how they are performing the phishing, right? Then over here, after this, we are having your identity theft. Now, in the identity theft, what the attacker will be doing is they are going to steal the PII, the personally identifiable information of the victim, and then after that, they will be pretending to be him, right? That is what we are having the identity theft. So over here, after this, we are having the bad luck. Okay, the option D. So the bad luck, it can happen to anyone, right? The bad luck, it can happen to anyone. For that, the combination of your contacts, you can say the spam contacts, the financial problems, right? And each and everything we are having, right? So they are not just misfortune. Right over here, we are talking about the mail, the phone call, some other information. Along with that, we are having the credit check, the bad debts, the loans, right? They are not just misfortune over there, right? There should be some problems, right? So the bad luck, it is the incorrect option, right? After this, we are having the identity theft, right? So over here, we are having, right, that the victim is continuously receiving the unsolicited mail, right? He is receiving phone calls over there, right? He is receiving the other requests for the information, right? So these information, they are giving us the information that someone has created, you can say, like a similar account over there, right? And over there, you can also say that the attackers, what they have done is they are using a very common tech, you can say tactics, which are being used by the, you can say, our attackers, right? That is what our identity theft, right? In which they will be stealing our PII, through which we are getting identified, right? Then along with that, in this second line over here, we are also getting the information about the problems with the credit checks, the bad debts, and the loans, which our victim, he has not participated in, right? So these two lines, they are indicating that someone has been using, you can say, our JSONs, our victim's personal information, to open some new accounts and to take out the loans. So over here, the correct option we are having is your option C, your identity theft. Then what about this one? So when we are talking about the social engineering, right? So our identity theft, our our phishing, right? They are also part of our social engineering, right? These are the attacks we are having inside the social engineering, right? So for that, they are using this method, which is your identity theft, right? Because over here in the social engineering, the attacker, what they will be doing is they will be using the different method to obtain the information, right? And over here, when we were talking about this question, right, it is, you can say, talking about the person, right? It is talking about the person that he is facing these sort of problems, right? About receiving the mails, the phone calls, requests for information, right? Along with that, he was also getting the, you can say, information about the credit, the bad debts, the loans, right? So over here, it is indicating that someone is, you can say, trying to pretend to be him, right? Over there, that his information, it might have been leaked previously, like we are having the data breaches, right? So basically, the attackers, what they are doing is they are, you can say, gathering the information about the data breaches, right, as a source about the personal information, right? So our identity thieves, what they are doing is they are using this data breaches as a source for their PII, right? Then this particular information, it will be further used, right? As this particular scenario it was saying. So the correct option we are having is your identity theft. Okay. Okay, so over here we are having the question which is saying that which of the following manages digital certificate? Option A, hub, right? Hub is what? It is a networking device which is being used to connect the devices, right? To forward the data packets, to receive the data packets from all the connected devices, right? So over hubs, they are not having any sort of capabilities to manage our digital certificates. Then we are having the key, right? So whether we are talking about the public key, whether we are talking about the private key, right, which are being used inside our digital certificates also. So over here our keys, right? They are very important, right? They are very important for our validating the, you can say, certificate over there. But over here, what we are having is your option D as a certification authority, right? So over here, when we are talking about this CA, right, what this CA will be doing is, it is like a trusted party we are having, right, which is going to identify the, you can say, the digital certificate over there, right? It is going to identify the person, right, or a individual, right, or a organization over there, right, and all the issues we are having related to our digital certificate, right? So for that, what we are having is, we are having this certification authority, right? We are having this certification authority who will be managing the digital certificates. Along with that, whenever we have to get the digital certificate, what we are doing is, we are requesting to the certification authority, right? Like over there, we will be having like a flow. We will be having registration authority. We are having the verification authority, right? Then we are having the certification authority. So over there, in the last, what is happening is, like, we are asking for the digital certificate. Like whenever, like let's say over here we are having a website, right? We are the owner of a website, and then we want a digital certificate for it. So what we will be doing is, we are making a request that we want a digital certificate for our website, right? So for that, in the last, that this certification authority, it will be making a stamp over there, right? It will be making a stamp over there. For that, it will be, you can say, using its private key, right? It will be, you can say, encrypting our public key with the help of its, you can say, certification authorities private key over there. Then we will be, in the last, we will be getting the digital certificate, right, which will be like a lengthy process. But in the overview, our certification authority are the one who will be managing our digital certificate, like whether we have to renew it, we have to revoke it, right? Then we will be contacting our certificate authority over there. So the correct option we are having is your option D. Okay.